I've known Nathaniel prior for the past couple of years, and I was asked to MC the Kollel dinner in 2013. And at the time, I didn't know him. I knew Yitzi and Moshe, and Nathaniel came up to me at some point, and we began to schmooze. And it was apparent to me that he was just a great guy, like Yitzi and Moshe, but he had his own personality. Very easy to talk to. I'm just stating the obvious here. And I knew he was someone who I'd like to spend some time with if I had the opportunity. Nathaniel was very kind to me, and I had mentioned maybe studying with him. David Goldstein actually had connected me with Nathaniel, and again, he was very generous of his time, and I went to his house on Monday nights, and he came to my house. And it wasn't so much actually the studying, which was, readily available, but it was becoming friends. It almost became more like a general schmoozing time, and just kind of going over what was going on in one another's lives. And really, he's obviously very resourceful, but I found his company to be to my liking and mine to his, and we just became friends. Well, I haven't been as immersed in all the things the Kollel has brought to the table. I've been a little bit, I would say, on the outside looking in, almost totally engaged. And in the past couple of years, I've become more involved, and much of it is because of Nathaniel. And I just think that while I can't speak for all the intricate details of the Kollel's work, which is totally incredible, I just think that he expanded the base, brought more people in, and I can just speak personally for me. And he just made me feel comfortable enough to take a step of studying and committing. And for whatever reason, I hadn't done that, so there was something about his personality and mine that clicked. And I can only imagine how he has been able to take that and totally increase the ruach around the Kollel, the reputation of the Kollel. I've spoken to friends, and everyone knows him, and he's just a special person. He could have been a comedian in another life. He is always like, he's low key, and you'll be talking about one thing, and then boom, he'll find comic relief in a situation. You can really talk to him like no holds barred, and just like he's your brother, I would say, a brother that I never had. It's really funny. Most of the time when I went to his house, I was under the false impression that I was actually going to diet. And I actually, as a result of that, I never engaged with what he, would always talk about was the best cake in the world. I never had the cake, but he spoke about it all the time. It looked delicious. I was able to hold myself away from it. Probably not the best thing. I probably should have engaged myself in it, but mostly I spent my time having tea with Nathaniel, but that was a bad move. Okay. I'll miss his companionship. He's just someone who you can be yourself with, and just non-judgmental. You can just sit down with him and schmooze. Very low pressure, very easygoing. Someone that I really, even though he's much younger than me, I could speak to him about anything, advice, run situations by him no matter what it was, talk about anything in a non-judgmental way. And to have someone like that, you don't always have many people who are like that. And he has been like that to me, and I have greatly appreciated the time that we've spent together, and I wish him nothing but the best. He's a great person. What fruit or vegetable would he be? Well, it would be a fruit that was soft on the outside and also soft on the inside. So I guess it would be a ripe fruit, maybe like a ripe peach or a ripe banana. Well, banana's got the, no, so I'd say a ripe peach. A ripe peach. Soft on the outside, like a teddy bear kind of, also soft on the inside, and nice to have. I do. Well, I certainly want to wish the entire family well, but obviously I knew Nathaniel, 99% of the family I knew Nathaniel. So I'll just say this, Nathaniel, you should know that I greatly appreciate the investment of time that you put into my life, and even knowing you, you wouldn't consider it to be a big deal. But to even have the opportunity to have 1 hour a week to schmooze with you, to know that it was going to be a no pressure interaction, to have a friend, that's immeasurable. And people are always looking for that. Whether you're a rabbi or a lawyer, which I am, or whatever you're calling, whatever type of person, people can never have enough people in their lives who are pleasant, who really care about them, and make them feel comfortable. And you shouldn't take that for granted. That's a special talent, and you excel at showing that to people and making people feel comfortable. We need more people like you.
So, when I first met Nathaniel, I will admit, I said to myself, another guy with a black hat. Just what I need in my life. And what I meant by that was that I had this judgment that he was going to be someone who would try to convince me of a certain way of looking at the world through Torah. And I have to say, after spending 2 years with him, and then this last year not living here but still in contact with him, that I have changed my opinion. And what I mean by that is that he's someone who is certainly very strong about his beliefs, but through the process of learning Torah, of speaking to each other, I have found that he really is someone who does not judge his fellow Jew. I have learned very much from Nathaniel many things. I have learned a lot about the particular topics that we worked on together, both in Chevruta and other kinds of conversations. I've also learned about somebody who is so committed to Torah and so committed to growth that it has really had a positive impact on me. The fact that there is this person who is 100% in his life about Torah and how it needs to be the way that we live our lives is something that can't be anything other than a positive influence. So that the way that Nathaniel pushed me to learn tractate Psachim is something that I might not have done on my own, but that how he was a constant and steady presence in encouraging me and picking me up when I really didn't want to continue is something that I very much appreciate and will always appreciate about him. And the Friedmans in general are a family that whenever you stepped into their house, you felt like you were in a Makom Kadosh, a home of Torah. So let me be honest. When I first met Nathaniel, even though I hate to be judgmental, we're all kind of judgmental, so I really did say to myself, great. Another guy that's going to come in and he's going to know the way of living, and it's going to be every day trying to fend off the Torah true approach to life versus however else there is to live to life. And I have to say, after 3 years now of getting to know Nathaniel, that that's probably still true, but at the same time, Nathaniel, I am deeply appreciative of who you are and how of a real and open and honest person you are, and the fact that you tolerate my eccentricities, my kind of being sometimes a little provocative to you and pushing you a little bit. But I do feel like that the time that we have known each other, we have helped each other to grow and help each other to really continue on the derech, to living as Jews in this world. And I've wonderfully enjoyed being in the Friedman home. First of all, the food is great. Second of all, it's meat. So when that's put together, I mean, hey, that's great. But more than that, it's the fact of how Nathaniel and Riva are really a wonderfully amazing couple who model what they talk about. They practice what they preach, so to say. And I have really, truly enjoyed our relationship together. And I look forward to many years of continuing to provoke you, Nathaniel, and being provoked in return, but all on the path of serving Hashem. So that's what I can say right now. Michael Rose has told me to be real. Nathaniel, I'm going to be real. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, buddy. I haven't had my coffee yet, so this is pretty much as real as you're going to get from me right now. But big hug. Honestly, Nathaniel Riva, I have no idea what you've contributed. It hasn't been here before, but I'll just take a guess. And I think it is probably your version of Geschmack. And I'll be honest, I don't really know what Geschmack means. I can barely spell the word. I know it's got a lot of letters in it. And I can look up Wikipedia or Google what Geschmack is. But in my view, Geschmack is that kind of quality where, let me give you an analogy. It's probably like when you have a cholent. I won't know, I've never had cholent in my house, but you have a cholent and there's a special ingredient. But if you don't put that into the cholent, it's not the same. So you guys, I think for this community, have been that ingredient. Because the cholent was already there and it was already stirring in the pot and all that, but you came in and with your combination of passion and knowledge and integrity and all that other stuff, you've really thrown in the Geschmack in the community in a way that you could say was not there before. So Riva, I will say seriously, I've loved the kugel. It was amazing, and the cholent and all that. But Riva, probably my first year here, there was this dessert. It was some kind of cherry pastry dish, and I don't know what it was, but I remembered that dessert forever. It was kind of like doughy and fluffy, and had the cherry stuff in it. And much to my disappointment, Nathaniel has never asked you to make it again when I've been there, so I'll try to forgive you for it. Nathaniel, the question is, if I had to compare you to a fruit or a vegetable, which one would you be and why? Nathaniel, I'm going to take a banana. You are a banana, Nathaniel. Why? Very easy, because like a banana, you're the kind of the guy you got to peel off the layers. Now that would be a good answer in and of itself to about what fruit you are, but there's more than that in the tunnel. Sometimes, like all of us bananas, there are the parts that are completely, the white part, and it's great. And then there's the parts that have that little kind of black stuff on them, the bruises. So I appreciate that I've been able to see both the white parts of you and the bruises part of you, which you can't always see in a person. So since I have all of that also, that's what I appreciate in you. And for a vegetable, I don't know, because you don't eat vegetables, so it's really hard to compare you to something that you have no experience with. So I'm just going to leave it at the fruit. So Nathaniel, also, what I'm most appreciative of is the way in which your impact I have seen not only in myself but in others, and specifically the fact that my learning of Tractate Pesachim was then felt by Steve Ugent, which then directly led to him doing Tractate Rosh Hashanah. So you get really the schar, not only for helping me in completing one part of the Gemara, but then in spurring another person to do that. And that is an incredible mitzvah. That's an incredible achievement. So what I would say is one of the things I think that you have really accomplished is to help instill the love of Torah and the fire, the desire every day for Torah learning on people in this community. And my bracha is that those of us in this community in Sharon continue to be impacted that way, and in Dunwoody that people are affected by you in the same way. May Hashem merit you to do this. For a long time, I'd may have the S stream, or maybe if the science is better past 120, we'll figure that out as we go along. Thank you.
We are good friends. We learn a lot together. We're chavrusa every Sunday morning before davening, which is one of the highlights of my week. And spend a lot of time in shul, not talking, but davening together, and then, at shir or kiddush or other places after Hashkama Minyan during the week. Spend a lot of time just schmoozing and talking. So that's our good relationship together, and certainly Nathaniel is a role model for me on some level. His dedication to Torah and halacha. We had a lot of conversations about maybe our slightly different hashkafot in those areas. But to see somebody who is so dedicated to Torah learning and living his life, the fi halacha, exactly as it is inspiring and motivating to me to want to also do those same things, the way he does them and the way he is exacting about the way he lives his life according to halacha. So those are things that I see in him. He's a role model for the community in those areas, and we'll miss that. I would say their dedication to Torah learning. I know Nathaniel has thousands of hours during the week, or chavrusas with different members of the community. Every time we try to find another time to learn, he says there's another chavrusa during that time, and we can't. And that Riva supports that, and lets Nathaniel out and go learn, even though I'm sure has a lot of things going on at home. Her dedication to Nathaniel's growth in Torah, and the family's growth in Torah, and the community's growth in Torah is something we're definitely going to miss from them. Sometimes she had like this raspberry, like a raspberry, it's not a cookie, but like a raspberry cake. Could that be? I don't want to say like it's wrong.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What was the exact type? It's like a raspberry, all right, I'll try to explain, yeah. I will definitely miss Monday nights when I come for learning a delicious cake, especially the raspberry one. It's a little crunch to it, but soft at the same time, and the raspberry goes down beautifully. Something I will definitely miss, so. I would say have definitely seen growth over the years in Nathaniel's teaching ability, and his also ability not only to, I go all the time to the Hashkama shir, and just see how Nathaniel has developed in order to be able to prepare a shir and have, goals for the shir and good questions and sources that generate discussion, and be able to be flexible enough to know what he wants to say, but be able to take in other people's opinions and bring those into the class as well. I know he works also with the middle school a lot. He does the middle school Mishnah share, which he's been doing over this last year after we implemented it. And I know that I get a lot of nice reviews from the kids after he has a class with them, whether it's Mishmar or, as I said, the other class. And so it's great to see that development along the way. So, yeah, okay. I just remember when Nathaniel first came to community, sort of as a rookie, and had to learn the community and understand the hashkafa of the community, and get to know the people in the community, and just thinking back to those days a couple years ago in his first hashkama shir that he used to give, and just seeing how he's developed. He's totally become integrated in the community. He knows everyone. He's friends with lots and lots of people. He's made a great impact on lots of people, and we're definitely gonna miss him and his family from Sharon. I will definitely miss our chavrusa on Sunday morning. I'm still thinking about it, and I'm not sure if we'll find anybody good enough to replace you, but hopefully we'll find somebody that wants to learn that early in the morning and does such a great job being able to learn Gemara and match with me together on being able to learn. So that's what I'll miss the most. I have to think which fruit, but definitely a fruit because he's so sweet. Which fruit specifically? I don't know. All fruits are sweet and good. Trying to think about maybe like an orange because he's so appealing, or something like a watermelon without seeds because he's not the pits, or something along those lines, or an apple because he's good to the core. So a whole mesh of those three types of fruits. Nathaniel, hopefully this is not our final goodbye. Maybe come back and visit, but we'll definitely miss you and your family and your presence here in the community, and mostly, and maybe a little selfishly, our chavrusa and all our learning together was, at least for me, the highlight of you being here, and hopefully you'll come back and at least visit, and bring your great attitude and your friendliness back to Sharon, at least for a little bit. We'll miss you guys.
Well, Nathaniel, I've taken 2 classes with Nathaniel, and I've worked with him on several projects. He and his wife were down at the library where they have the drawing for children and making all these different things. They're a great couple to work with, no pressure at all. They come well prepared, and they make it a fun event for everyone, not just the people who are participating as the guests, but for the people who are working with them. They're really great. They're an exceptional couple. They're kind of the couple that I think young families that are newlyweds, they strive to be a Torah couple like them because of everything they do. Just they have a great relationship with each other. It's like one can start a sentence, the other one, so to speak, finishes it. They're just a wonderful couple with great kids, and we're going to miss them terribly out here. Enthusiasm. They are the most enthusiastic couple that I've worked with, especially in Nathaniel's classes. He goes out of his way to provide these probing questions, and his level of enthusiasm is so high that by the time you're finished with the class, you're worn out because you want to work so hard to meet his expectations. He's a great teacher, and he works very hard to prepare the materials so that everybody walks away feeling that they've learned something. And with Reba, whenever we've gotten together, she is just a wonderful person, easy to get along with, and she's also the best cookie maker I have ever met anywhere. She is just amazing. And plus, she works well with kids. You can see that she just has a natural affinity for working with children. Having worked with children for 28 years, I can tell you that it's a real gift that she has. Wonderful, wonderful woman. We're going to miss them terribly here in Sharon, both of them. Well, I think he's made me work harder than I would have naturally worked at. I always ask him for homework, and he'll give it to me, and then of course I come in and I'm feeling pretty good, but his questions are really, makes you really think, and the best thing I can say is that he has really challenged me, and both of those classes were just wonderful classes. I'm going to miss learning with him. I think he has an easygoing style that, because of his enthusiasm and his sense of humor, it makes it very easy for people to feel comfortable with him, to work with him. Even if you don't really understand exactly what is being taught at the time, he picks up the cues very quickly, and he sort of gives a broad explanation and then leads you into the area, and then you're back online. And that itself is a wonderful ability to have, because you don't lose anyone that way. In the classes, just one last comment on this, in the classes I've sat in with him, everybody is just very eager to answer and participate, because he puts no pressure on anyone, but at the same time, you want to be part of what's taking place. Absolutely. When we went to the Walnut Street Shul in Chelsea, it was a shul that is, we're talking late 1800s or early 1900s, and Rabbi Avigdor Miller was the rabbi there for 10 years. And Natalia, we were talking to him and said, well, why don't you get up there and you can say that you gave a shiur here at the same shul that Rabbi Avigdor Miller did. And he did. He got up there and he gave and you have to imagine the aron there is about 50 feet high. It is a beautiful, they have 2 of these arons there that were made by these people who were just experts, and they're very valuable. But he got up there and he gave a wonderful shiur, and there were maybe 15, 20 of us there. We all enjoyed it, and it'll always stay in my mind just how quickly he could get up there and put it together. Riva, the way I have liked every single cookie that she has made, and probably put on about 4 pounds, I mean, over the time. Even though you're only having it once a week, they are so good. And not only that, not only does she bake, but she decided she was going to learn how to cut fruit and do things of that nature. And she just became like an expert at it so easily. Nothing seems too hard for her to do. She's just an amazing person. Both Arlene and I will miss her too, because she's just fun to be around. What I would miss most is their positiveness. They are so positive with everything that they've ever done. And everyone who meets them immediately feels like, you know, they've developed an immediate rapport with them, and that they're wonderful people, and they want to have them visit with them and talk with them and be their friends. And this is how I'll always remember them, as people with this great enthusiasm and a caring for everything they do, and they live inwardly and outwardly. They live Yiddishkeit and Torah, and they serve as an example, a concrete example to all of us of what we would strive to be to reach their level. It just comes out in a way that you don't expect it. He builds the humor into, like the class with the Maharal. There are always interesting aspects to what the Maharal is teaching. And he'll bring out these points, and he does it in a way where you can appreciate not only what the Maharal is saying, but there's some humor involved in it as well. And that's just his style.
And the last question, it's a little bit of a ridiculous question.
No question is
But
ridiculous.
we'll see. But it's gotten some great responses.
Okay.
And you can think about it a little bit. But so if you were gonna compare Nathaniel to a fruit or a vegetable, what would it be and why?
If I was going to compare Nathaniel, this is like one of his probing questions, to a fruit or a vegetable. I'm trying to think of what can you phrase that just a little bit differently for me so that I can, I think I understand where you're going, but I'm not sure. Is this running?
But it's gonna be edited.
Oh, cool. I know you'll let it. But this is really, you know, I always thought I had a good sense of humor, but but this is he more like a fruit or more like a vegetable? If I have to make a choice between being a fruit or a vegetable, I would say I would compare him to a vegetable. And the reason why is that he plants himself in our community, and not only do all of us benefit from his being there, but he continues to grow. And he grows, and his growth, he's just beginning. And when he is fully grown, I expect that he'll be back at the Walnut Street Shul, and people will say, do you know that he, Nathaniel Friedman, once spoke there many years ago when he wasn't known, and now that he's a full-grown, yeah, I'd say a vegetable. That's it.
The Friedman Mishpacha is Geschmack. They are full of laughter and full of Torah and full of Hachanasas Orchim, and they're a wonderful family to be around. They're just such a Torah-dic family, and they have so much like ruach that it's a good geschmack being around them. That's why so many people come to the Oneg Shabbos that they make, or to they always have folks over for Shabbos dinner, for Shabbos day, because people want to come. So I've known the Friedmans in a number of different ways, a number of different venues, almost all of them having to do with Torah. Their whole family is a Torah-dic family. So I've got to help out with a lot of the kol events, and I've got to learn with Netanel, and I got to enjoy Shabbos with them, and they're a sweet family. The Friedmans are a Geschmack family. Last winter, we met up sledding, by the train tracks, and the ice was packed down, and Netanel's kids were scared of the snow, and Netanel was like going down, in the snow, and we had a great time, and later that day, I think we met up and we learned together. One of my most memorable experiences with Netanel is going rock climbing together. Netanel had a chavrusa with Nadav Minkin from Providence for a long time, and I also met Nadav, and we started going climbing at his gym together, and so we would go every Sunday night, and it was great because we would drive down together, and we get to talk to her in the car, and then we get there and we'd have a blast on the climbing wall. What's really great about Netanel and his family is that they've got a purity. They've got they're very yashar. They're very straight, and that whatever they say, whatever they do, it comes from a very pure place, and it comes from a very strong place. Like they have a confidence and a understanding in their Torah lives that is not so easy to come by, and it's something that I envy to some degree. To have that type of that settledness in what you do every day in life is, and how you do it is, you can't put a price on that type of, confidence and that type of, comfort and understanding of a person's purpose in life. And that's something that I really look to Netanel for, is when I'm looking for clarity regarding hashkafic issues. He's got a wonderful sense of clarity and understanding. I think Netanel is either. No, I think Netanel is a zucchini. He's a zucchini because a zucchini can be these small little little things that you get, and they're very delicate, or they can these big massive things, and Netanel has a lot of different sides to his personality. I think that the main thing is that they taste good in chicken soup. I think what I mean to say is, when Netanel is clearly a zucchini, and they go in chicken soup so well is that that Netanel is so classically Jewish, like chicken soup, that if he were to be a classic chicken soup vegetable, you'd have to be a zucchini. Netanel's a great chavrusa. He's got a geschmack for learning. He's got a real love of getting into things and talking them out and making them applicable in life. And he's always got stories he's bringing in from life, from back when he learned this, from the other day when I was talking about this with somebody, I heard, and everything comes back to real life. Everything is the Gemara is not just way back then, but it really this is so much a part of our lives, so much like how we live and in our daily lives. He's constantly able to connect it to what's going on now, and besides being valuable, besides being a way to understand in more depth, that the Torah, it is beautiful, and it's so fun. I don't want to ruffle any feathers here, but I have to say that the Kollel does a lot of things really, really, really well, and both Yitzi and Moshe are beautiful singers and wonderful musicianship with their voices. But Nathaniel Friedman, he's another level. What can I say? So he has brought a level of ruach with song to the Kollel that really has been a joy, and has been really beautiful to see that aspect of Torah, being emphasized with with everybody has everything special to bring, and this is a wonderful gift that he has. So I have a secret. I know how they get people to come to the Monday night Beis Midrash. It's Mrs. Friedman's chocolate chip sticks. That's it. That's the secret. Everybody knows she makes the best chocolate chip sticks, so that's why people come. Sorry, Nathaniel. It's the chopsticks. It's those. So when they leave, I've ordered a batch of 500 for the next year. So the Mishnah says, I think it's Shammai that says, "Mekabel es kol adam b'sefer panim yafos." Greet everybody with a pleasant face, with a pleasant expression, and all the Kollel rabbis, do that well. All the rabbis in Sharon do that well. But Nathaniel has a special has a special gift for making people feel warm and welcome and wanted when he greets them, and that is that we missed. Oh well, I have a little bit of expertise in this subject. Setting up and schlepping is a favorite pastime of mine, and Nathaniel's pretty good for a Kollel, guy. Pretty good at setting up and schlepping. Gotta hand it to him. Respect.
My relationship with Riva. Riva is a very close friend. We've gotten just to be very close over the last few years, and can always rely on her for anything that you need. An ingredient for a recipe, or watch my kids, or anything I would need. She's just always there 100%, and I don't know, Sharon is definitely going to feel empty without her. I think they just have an openness and a warmth that they accept everyone. They make everyone feel like they're loved and like they're cared for, and like they're their best friend. It's a pretty admirable quality. It's a difficult one to achieve, and I think they definitely have brought that to Sharon. Riva exemplifies what it is to be a Bas Torah, and just she's always learning, and she just is a role model in so many ways. She's also had she's also had the opportunity to teach two of my children, Mordechai and Avi, and they both have learned an enormous amount of Torah and about Yiddishkeit from her. As each Yom Tov came and Shabbos came and every Parsha, everything that she was going to talk about, it was just they came home loving it already. Like, they would learn about Pesach for only one day already, and they're already like loving it, looking forward to it, and always amazing projects, and just I don't know, they loved her. They still call her Mora Riva. I don't know, she's always there just to whether it's to commiserate about something that's going on, or to just someone to lean on. She's just always someone to lean on for whatever needs to be, for whatever the need is. She's always just there. She's a constant. She's been a rock. So it's gonna be hard, when she leaves. I'm not good at this.
When Rabbi Friedman first came to Sharon, he and I started learning weekly Parsha every Friday morning. And we did that for about a year until my schedule changed slightly. And we've been able to, on and off, learn more Parsha stuff and some halacha stuff as well. I really enjoy all of the shirim that he gives during the legal holidays. He has an uncanny ability to present both sides of the situation and take everybody's feedback and turn to something that's very meaningful, very positive, something that people can come away with. He's an excellent public speaker. He's very witty, very funny, quick on his toes, and will be greatly missed here in Sharon. Personally, I see him as a very strong leader and somebody that I look up to model my behavior after. It certainly helped me steig and helped me continue to stay focused and learn, even when time is short. What I'll miss most about the Friedmans is that they never say no to anything that you ask them to help you with. If it's to drive an extra carpool for you because you have an appointment to go to, or if it's some advice on a certain situation, or if it's anything career-wise. He's always an ear to bounce things off of, to bounce ideas off of. Always is very welcoming. Always says hello, says goodbye, wishes you a nice day. His presence is always felt wherever he is. I think that his greatest contribution is his ability to approach people at whatever level they're at, make them feel comfortable in their learning and with wherever they're holding in Judaism, and to give constructive encouragement to go further, to seek the MS, and to really delve into the text, delve into new ideas, and I think that's something that will be missed here. Everybody always says the Kollel has been fantastic at bridging the gaps between all the different shuls in Sharon, and I think that whenever I see Rabbi Friedman interacting with other people, there's no judgment, there are no expectations. The expectation is that you're having a good time learning, and that you're continuing to grow and not stay stagnant. In this week's Parshas Naso, I learned with Rabbi Friedman this morning that specifically about the Kohanim and the bracha that the Kohanim bestow on Bnei Yisrael, and Rabbi Eli Monk said that basically when the Kohanim are doing the kahuna and they're putting their hands out, it's the formation of a lattice fence, and that's one of the ways that Hashem looks down on his people, specifically on the Yidden, through a lattice fence. And I thought that was a pretty interesting approach. There are other ways that Hashem looks down on us. Hashem looks down through the window, just down through the sky, looks into our homes, but the division of the lattice fence as some sort of a protective barrier both for us and for Hashem was pretty interesting. Yeah, Netanel as a chavrusa, it's always fun. It's always exciting. Always some new insight, some new way to look at a certain idea. Certain Rashis, certain Tosafos, whatever we happen to be looking on. There's always a different angle of approach that he's able to see and to give over. His understanding of the language is very strong, and his ability to give it over to his students is what I enjoy learning from the most. I love his sense of humor. It's very it's my style sense of humor. It's very stark. It's unwavering, and you have to be able, you have to be able to pick up on the comments that he makes and, and appreciate them. To a fruit or a vegetable.
Yes.
It's going to have to be something hairy. Perhaps a kiwi or I don't know. Maybe kiwi. Kiwi's fuzzy. Rabbi Friedman always seems to have a nice beard, a trimmed beard. I don't know if he has to cut it every day or not. But yeah, I'll go with the kiwi. Yeah, we wish you a lot of hatzlach in Atlanta. You'll be greatly missed here in Sharon. And don't forget about us, and come back, and we'd love to see you.
My relationship with Reber is relatively new. I started with classes with Rabbi Friedman, and as the classes moved to his house, then I became as the classes moved to his house, I got to know Reber a little bit better, particularly through the most recent pregnancy. She's just a sweetheart, and they've both made me feel part of the community, even though I don't live in Sharon. So they've been very welcoming, both in their home and here, for various activities, insofar as even asking me to help with the barbecue a few weeks ago, which I would never have even thought about, because this is not my community, except it is my community. I think I've learned by example. They exemplify acceptance, openness, and welcome. And they both, but Rabbi Friedman, because I've spent more time with Rabbi Friedman than I've spent with Reva. Wherever you are, they accept you for that, and still make you feel very comfortable within their circle, within their milieu. They've both made me remember the values of a more observant lifestyle than I personally live under.
What do you think you'll miss most about him?
Rabbi Friedman's teachings, absolutely. He is a phenomenal teacher. Not only with a world of knowledge, but always seems to have a personal story to go along with his teaching that just brings it down to a level that anybody can understand and can realize that it has an impact on their own personal lives. The night I remember the most was a Pirkei Avot class that was held at Rabbi Friedman's house. This was shortly after Esther was born. Reva was out for the evening, so Rabbi Natanel was in charge of the baby, but he obviously had to do some teaching. So he kind of thrust Esther at me, and I got to hold her through the entire teaching session. And it was just, it enriched the whole session for me, just having her, kind of resting and squirming on my lap while I was learning Torah. It was just, it was wonderful. But it's what they do. It's the Friedmans.
That's great.
Well, Rabbi Friedman is the reason I became part of the Kollel. He came to teach a class at my temple, totally unrelated to a lot of the stuff here in Sharon, but he taught a class and I became a groupie. So it didn't matter what he was teaching. If it was something I didn't think I was interested in, I came. And I introduced a lot of people to him who all agree with me that he's a marvelous teacher. And he's made me, although I don't live in Sharon and I'm not part of the Sharon community, he has made me feel part of the Kollel community. Again, a gift. I just want to wish them both well. I'm sorry they're leaving, but I am sure that they will do for Atlanta what they've done here for me, and I'm sure many more people will be fans.
Rabbi Friedman, Riva, Zvi, Liba Rezel, Henny, Shirabatia, and baby Esther. It was too hard to just speak without a script, because you mean so much to us, so we had to sit down and write what we wanted to say. We've been so blessed to have you as our friends since you first came to Sharon to become part of the kollel. I remember when we first met at the kollel dinner when Riva was expecting Basya. Your genuine warmth, smiles, and love of Torah and Hashem lit up the room, and I knew immediately that you would become an incredible force here in Sharon and that you would have a tremendous impact on our lives. With each day, I saw the community continue to grow and blossom with your enthusiasm and dedication and love of our people. It was at another community Shabbos dinner that we were seated nearby again. It was during one of the most difficult times of my life, and I sat there with you, Riva, and I shared my story, and I cried, and I saw your genuine care and concern for me and my family, and I felt that you shared in my pain. It wasn't just me. I left not long after to return home, and within a few minutes, there was a knock at my door. I was like, who is that? And it was you and your family inviting me to spend that Shabbos lunch with you and offering to help me in whatever ways you could. I could not describe how much that meant to me. It was very late. You had all the kids, but you took the time and care to reach out to me at the earliest possible opportunity you had. I cried again, not because I was sad, but because Hashem had brought you into our lives. Your family, which each and every one of you is the true embodiment of everything a Jew should strive to be. That Shabbos was the beginning of many, many Shabboses to come, where my family would be invited to spend not just Shabbos night, but Shabbos day meal at your home. A home that was always filled with love, delicious food, zemiros, words of Torah, encouragement and excitement of Shabbos for the children, and real, true warmth. Every time I walk into your home, I feel like I'm a part of your family and not just a guest. I would ask Riva, do you really, really want me to come for both meals? Do you really want us to come again? And she would always reply with a huge smile, of course, it's our pleasure. Like we were doing you a favor. Rabbi Friedman has on numerous occasions reached out to Nachman and brought him to Shul Friday nights, learned Torah with him at Chill Zone, and given him rides. That means an unbelievable amount to me. You've walked with us home in the pouring rain, on many a late Friday night and made sure we arrived safely. Our appreciation for what you've done for us in the community is not adequately put into words. We will miss you greatly, but you will always be in our hearts. We know that with Hashem's help, you will continue to touch the lives of everyone you encounter and bring us all one more giant step towards the coming of Moshiach. May Hashem bless you in all you do. May you have good health and all you need for your journeys in life, and always much nachas from your beautiful children. We wish you all the best, and we thank you for being you. They have a tremendous ahavas Yisrael. They're able to reach out to any Jew, regardless of who they are, regardless of their background, and make them feel loved and cared about. Doesn't matter what that person is doing or not doing. When you talk to Riva or Rabbi Friedman, they look you in the eye and they look into your soul, and they feel like they share your happiness, they share your pain, they connect with you like you're one of their own. So I think that would probably be, if I had to boil it down to one thing, that would be it.
What are you going to miss most about them?
Oh, everything. That's hard. It's hard to say what I will miss most about them. I think it's like part of my family is leaving. What would you say you'll miss most about them now?
Rachel.
You don't want that, Rachel? What will you miss about the Friedmans? I guess I'll miss how loved they made us feel, each and every one of us. There's lots of people that make you feel loved, but they're really, really special. No one in the world like them, and we'll miss them, but we're very happy for them, and we know that they're going to do great things where they are. They have other lives that they need to touch. They've touched ours in the way they need to, and they'll continue to be part of it. But the Friedmans, with every breath they take, with everything that they do, it's all about Torah and Hashem. It's every single moment of their lives, and they share that enthusiasm and love with everyone that comes into their lives, and they make them want to go out and do the same thing. And that's how we all need to be, and I can only hope to become as great as they are.
Beautiful.
Well, we are neighbors. They moved onto Marie Avenue, which is where we live, and so I see them a lot just in passing, although in the winter months not so much as in the summer. I think that I've seen a lot of exuberance coming out from both of them, just in terms of the community. I could be mistaken, but I think they started the Onegs on Friday night, because I do remember being invited over to their house once or twice before I heard that the other rabbis were having something. I thought it was more of the Friedmans thing starting it. Riva is just as involved in terms of the Onegs. She's doing all the cooking. You know, Netanel is sitting there and singing and telling drashas, but she's doing all the cooking and the preparation, so she's just as involved in that. That's a hard question, because I know there's a lot of little things, especially that Riva has tried to bring to the community. She had a get-together of women at her house one Saturday night, which was nice in and of itself, but then her whole idea was to bring hints, you know, that everybody should share some things. And I feel like almost everything everyone was saying, because I'm a little older than, you know, I could be her mother in terms of the age difference. My kids are their ages. So that wasn't helpful in terms of the hints, but just the get-together, bringing everyone together in a very social way was really nice. And I think that that's something that they've done. It's not just the learning that you associate with the kollel, but just some of the interpersonal activities, you know, the social activities that they've been very, very involved in. Waving hi as I go by. I'll miss not having them as neighbors on the street. Just I think there's, as I said before, I think that exuberance and excitement that both of them have brought, you know, that's there, and that, you know, you see whenever I stop and see them, they're always just like very happy to see you, and they express it in a very active way. I can't say this is the best thing that she makes, but I can't say that. I know that her desserts are wonderful, but I did take the challah making class that she did, and I will definitely remember the challahs. And one thing that I have to say is it was kind of amazing walking into their house the day that we were actually making them, and they had a bridge table full of challah dough. That's an amazing amount of challah dough that they had prepared ahead of time. That's a memory. I know that I had done, I think, 2 with Netanel. There were a number that he was giving that looked interesting, but I've been going to one of Yitzi's classes for the Tehillim class. We've been meeting for like 5 years already, and it's Tuesday nights, and a lot of Netanel's was Tuesday nights. So that was it. Couldn't go. But there were, I believe, 2 classes of his that I did go to also. We'll think of you. We'll miss you. And I guess to say that we wish you lots of luck in Atlanta. I do remember when I first met Netanel, they had moved in not that long ago, and I was out walking the dog, and it was a winter night, it was snowy. I don't remember if it was snowing, but there was definitely snow on the ground, and you know, I'm walking past and I stop and I say hello and introduce myself, and you know, knowing that Netanel was going to be, actually I don't know if I knew at that time that he was a Kollel rabbi, but I knew that he was observant and he was wearing a kippah, so I'm introducing myself. And he was kind of standing afar, and I understood. He did tell me that he wasn't very fond of dogs. Didn't realize quite how he didn't like them, how much he didn't like them, although Riva definitely does not like them even more than he doesn't. But that was, you know, I introduced myself and we had this conversation. That was the first time that I met them. And that's something I definitely will remember. And just in terms of the dogs, I did try to get the kids to not have the fear that their parents did. And for a little while it worked until they realized how much your parents were afraid and we didn't have the little dog to bring with us anymore.
Probably the most poignant aspect of our relationship has been learning Gemara recently, Rosh Hashanah, and just having wonderful learning and just having such a warm combination of digging into the text, but also being spontaneous and real of what the text brings out in each of us. And so for me to find somebody that not only is incredibly learned, but somebody that that is really makes it comfortable for me to dig into a text. You know, I wasn't raised learning Gemara, so there's it's not my biggest forte. So there's a sense of vulnerability. So to find somebody that that makes it fun and interesting and inspiring, and there's a sense of warmth and connection, is a real jewel for me. So the only challenge that I would say that I have in the learning is that Netanel is leaving, and so we got a good few months in there, and I'm definitely grateful for that. I would say that I've particularly enjoyed, this was a while ago when the Friedmans had their, I think it was a Thursday night cholent something or other, where we were learning Torah and singing lots of beautiful songs, and that was great, and a couple Friday night onegs. So there was just definitely a ruach, and Rabbi Friedman loves to sing, and he exposed me to a song that I then taught to the kids, and it's become a little bit of an anthem in our house. So I think Rabbi Friedman brought song to our community, and I think probably other people have a similar view, and also a sense of humor. I appreciate Rabbi Friedman's realness and his sense of humor and his desire to be real. That's how I'd put it. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I appreciate about how we learned was right before Shavuos, we just started schmoozing, as we often did, over a cup of tea before we dug in, and Rabbi Friedman started telling me about what he was going to be teaching at 3:30 in the morning on Shavuos. And we ended up doing the whole chavruta around that, learning about King David, and it was wonderful. So it was a great learning, but we literally had the Gemara open, and you know, that was the one day we actually didn't dig in. But I appreciated that we were there to learn Torah, and on that particular day, you know, there was an openness, a spontaneity to kind of reviewing what he was going to give over. And since I wasn't at the class in 3 in the morning, I got a nice preview. So I guess spontaneity, appreciate the spontaneity and the focus on the kedusha of learning. They both have a positive energy, and that sounds very general, but I think that when we walk around in life, there's certain people that you encounter and you just feel good around, and I think a lot of that's just not verbal. It's even before somebody says hello. It's the way they look at you. It's the energy they project. And I could definitely say for most of my interactions been with Rabbi Friedman, but I would say for both of them, a sense of warmth and a sense of positivity and kindness and hospitality, and not just with their home, but with wherever they are. I definitely felt very welcome in their home and also in whenever I see them. Yeah, and just as a parting words, I want to wish both of you lots of haslacha in your new positions and your new community, and you've definitely enriched our little neighborhood right here in Sharon and the whole community. And I can only imagine as you guys both grow individually and as a family that you will continue to have more and more to give. So the community you're going to is about to receive a big gift, and I hope they have the eyes and ears to receive you and your gifts and the way that has been so apparent to us, and that Hashem should bless your family with continued beautiful growth, and you guys should continue to be a light into the Jewish people and to the nations, and you should continue to share your beautiful stories. I definitely appreciated hearing your stories of Yeshiva Lane. I never knew such a thing was existed. When I was a kid, we used to play a game called Candy Cane Lane or something like that, but I never heard of Yeshiva Lane, and it definitely sounds like a mythical, sweet place of Torah learning. And so you definitely brought those stories into my heart. And Bezrat Hashem, we will get the bracha to see you guys again. So I wish you lots of hatzlacha, and thank you very much for what you've given to our community. I can't imagine it's an easy thing to plop your family into Sharon and to make new friends and a new job, etc. But you guys did a phenomenal job, and not something that everybody can do. And so that's a skill you guys have, and may the Jewish world continue to benefit from you, and may you get lots of nourishment from the community that you're also about to join.
So I have been working with Nathaniel now for about a year and a half. And we had studied together. And Nathaniel is an absolutely wonderful teacher. One of the things that we were able to do is, as we were studying Malachim 1 and Malachim 2, and as we were doing that, he stops periodically, and from all of his knowledge, he's able to add and elucidate on the story and the stories of the kings, and he's able to give a lot of illustrations about what happens not only there, but also referring it back to even previous history, and talking about how the issues are relevant. Nathaniel has that ability because he's very knowledgeable and he's very good, and he has a wonderful way of teaching. It's friendly, it's always with a smile, it's always on a positive side. Everything that he teaches and the way he says things is always very encouraging. Nathaniel also is kind of a person and rabbi. He's very careful with his words. He always has positive words to explain even negative things. And there's something that's really greatly appreciated, and I admire it a lot, and I've actually learned from that, because I found myself every once in a while using similar ways of speaking to say negative things in positive terms, and he certainly never uses any words that are harsh or inappropriate, but manages to find ways of being able to give a message across, and a story across, and information across, in a way that you understand what he's saying, but it's all very positively oriented. I'm going to miss both, not only the learning, but also his friendship. And I think he's always friendly. We're always able to talk a little bit before we start to study, and he is very open in sharing some of his feelings and what his stresses are like in terms of being a father, and then I can share what my stresses are like in terms of being a father and a grandfather. And he's really wonderful. He's a great listener, and there's really more than a chavrusa. It's almost a real friendship. in that sense, and I am going to miss him. Nathaniel and his wife Reba have been a real asset to the community, both being very generous with their time and really very helpful with the holidays and with events. And it's something that's really going to be missed here, and I think it's going to be very hard to replace them. I think that, Nathaniel himself, I think he brought his personality. He has a way of being able to teach. There's always that friendliness, and it's always with a smile and with a simcha, and there's always a joy, and it's also, there's certainly no pressure. So I think that what happens is that he brought his energy that sort of like encourages other people to participate, and it's not that it wasn't there more, but he added that energy to the kollel, and it was there before, and this was like, he was the third person here, and it more than tripled the energy, in the kollel in terms of doing things, and the teaching and the learning, and expanding what they were offering to the community. He's an apple. What I wished for him is a lot of success, and that he continued to find success, and not only in terms of his career as a rabbi and as a teacher, but that he and his wife also get a lot of nachas from their children, who are beautiful children, absolutely beautiful children. I get to see them when I study at his home. They're really wonderful children, and that things should really go well for them. And I really pray that they continue to have opportunities where they can expand themselves, and wherever they're going to be, they will offer a lot to their community.
My relationship with the Friedmans started when they came to see the apartment next door to me. That they never got it, but it was my loss and the Miller's gain. When they first came here, they decided that they're going to adopt us as grandparents, and they literally went through the whole thing, and made the kids call us Zadie and Bobby, and the whole 9 yards. Treated us really like grandparents, and vice versa. We treated the kids like the grandchildren, and them like, one of ours. And nobody ever did that. So I was really overwhelmed by that. And I was like, in the beginning, I was like in shock, But they are wonderful people, each of them individually. And their chinuch for their children, everybody should learn. It's something that people should really emulate, The children more than, the parents, Remember, there are two who were born in Sharon. And I don't know, the kids became part of us, and how can you, cut something that is part of you? Yeah. I didn't want that day to come even. I'm very happy for them. I don't want people to think that I begrudge them or anything. I'm very, very happy for them, but I'm not happy for myself. The personal relationship with people, and the kollel didn't have that much, that everybody was equal, no matter what denomination you are, Their chesed is beyond belief, That's, that's what, a kollel person really does. They put the kollel up front, I'm too fussy with food. She knows that. She said I can never, you know. Well, I'll tell you what she did for my husband. He loved, she made him dessert that is gluten-free, and every time we went there for a meal, she made sure that most of the stuff are gluten-free, so he shouldn't look different. This you can eat, this you can't eat. You know, the most that I like from her food, I like her cholent. Why? Because she does put potatoes in the cholent. Nothing against Rabbi Miller. You know, but Rabbi Miller is right. When I come, he puts potatoes in the. Yeah. But the thing that all the other stuff, when I was sick in the summer, I had a knee issue. The way they took care of me, real children couldn't do any better. And that stands in my mind. The worry, each one individual is like, Nathaniel always called me from on the way on his cell phone. She didn't know he called me, so it's not that she or they both. So I miss that.
Riva, she's an amazing friend. Forget the fact that she's a Rebbitzin. I first met her when they moved to town, and I believe it was at Rebbitzin Miller's house. And the first thing that you notice about Riva is her huge smile. And that smile just welcomes you into her entire world. She is extremely friendly, outgoing, so positive. And she exudes that, so it's like a magnet. You're just drawn to it. And she's nothing ever bothers her. She's just go with the flow. It's okay. Everything will work out. She did a lot of cooking for my son's bar mitzvah, and I remember saying, thank you. What can I do? And her response was, this is what community does for each other. It's like, this is a given. This is, and when I asked her if boys could stay at her house, and then I needed more boys to stay at her house, and she already had guests at her house, and she's like, don't worry. She's just always there for you, and always with a smile. Nathaniel, Rabbi Friedman, he did amazing classes, that brought a lot of people into Eitz Chaim that probably had never been here before for his classes. It's not that the other rabbis new life. It's like new blood and excited and energy, and that gets people excited. And they were always, even their parents when they come, it's just you learn from what you live with, and always excitement, always whatever they did was wholehearted. And teaching the boys, they opened up a whole new aspect when it came to that. Riva, she's taught me that Amunah is really the only thing you need in life. And not the only, but one of the most important. And she's taught me that everything works out for whatever reason it's supposed to. And, just how to really, really focus on what you have and not what you don't have. I don't know what she does to her brownies. She makes the most amazing brownies ever. Sorry, Bracha. Sorry, Rebbitzin Miller. But her brownies, they are mind-blowing brownies. I don't know what she does. They're amazing. Yeah. I was thinking that. I really was. Yeah, her brownies. And I didn't get any at Joshua's bar mitzvah. They were all gone. I'm like, you owe me a plate of brownies. Big plate. I said that to her too. I'm like, I didn't get any. Her children. Honest to goodness gracious, Zvi, so sorry, Zvi, what a mensch. her girls are amazing, but always Mrs. Tyler, good Shabbos, always, I mean, just such amazing, kind, which they get from their parents. You know, it's and Riva's smile, and always words of encouragement, always. I mean, no matter what, I mean, you could scribble and she would tell you how beautiful, I mean, just always words of encouragement, no matter what. If I called her in the middle of the night, she would be there for me. Dunwoody is such a lucky community. Such a lucky community. They are going to be missed. They will never be replaced. There'll be another Colell family, but they will never be replaced. They will always be part of Sharon, part of our lives, part of our community. My husband's already booked his trip down there. Can we go? Can we go? I'm like, yes. But yeah, so I wish them so much happiness and so much hatzlacha and so much health. But yeah, Dunwoody, watch out. You're in for a ride, an amazing ride. I've done classes with Rabbi Friedman, not because the times that she gave them, it was during my work. Sorry. No matter who was in the class, no matter what area you came from, he got everyone on the same page, which was great, because sometimes you could go to a class and the person next to you is so far ahead of you and the person to the left of you is, not on, but he made everyone feel that we were all on the same page always, and you didn't feel like it was too much or he didn't dumb it down, he didn't make it too. You felt when you walked out, you wanted more and you couldn't wait for the next class. I wish you all the hatzlacha, the health, happiness, everything that Hashem has in store for you is going to be amazing. You are an amazing family. You exude Judaism to the fullest extent. Everyone that comes in contact with you is for the better. And we will surely miss you, and whether you like it or not, you will see us again.
Well, first of all, I have, I think, a very nice relationship with them. They've been a host and hostess to me. I've been in their house. I've had classes from Rabbi Friedman. First he taught Haftorah. Then we had a class on Michelin before the Yom Tovim. He gave classes on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and it increased my my feeling. It inspired me. Riva's a terrific cook, and they're just so warm, and kind, and welcoming, and they have such an interest in every human being. It just makes you feel like you're number one. It gives you a good feeling. And their children are the same way too. They're cuddly and warm and kind and outgoing, and very, very talented also. As I said, the rabbi is a good teacher and a kind and very personable person. And Riva's fantastic. I had the opportunity to just help out at the Sharon Library, and Riva had all these creative projects that were for children, and all these events were always before a Yom Tov, and all the projects were about that Yom Tov, and every single child was engaged and interested and learned a lot about the holiday, and always the delicious cookies. So that was a big treat, and they've just brought so much to the community, so much to me personally. And we wish them well and in their new job and their new home. But my husband and I in the community will miss their presence here with us. The Colell does a fantastic job, so it's just that I think the fact that they lived in a home rather than an apartment, they invited people in. It's just like you could settle in, and you felt part of everything. And the house was always open, and there was class, camaraderie, good feelings, everything. I think it was great. And they reached out to everyone, always had time to talk to you, always had time to ask about what was new, what was doing, and you just had a friend. You just know you had friends, you know. I remember we went on a whale watching trip with the Friedmans and the other Kollel members and their children. We had so much fun. It was just a big happy family. He's a great teacher. He has a lot of material. He prepares well, and he has a way of expressing himself. It's deep concepts, yet in words that everyone can understand. He always has excellent illustrations. He gives us practical applications. He tells stories about his life and situations that he's seen, that he's been around, so that we can learn the concepts and learn how to apply them in our own lives. And another thing I think that's so fantastic is I think that they represent all the qualities that I admire, and I want to be more like them. I can't tell you that I am like them, but I see the things in them that I know I'd like to be more like them. I love her cookies. I remember at the last Kollel dinner, someone asked a gentleman, you know, who was speaking, what did you like about the schmoozes? He says, well, the best thing was Reva's cookies. And everybody laughed, but it's not a joke, because it's an effort, you know. She has kind of a nice family, always had time to think about someone else and make someone else feel terrific. Their presence, when they walked into a room, they just lit up the room. The rabbi and his wife and his fantastic children. We were really sad to hear that they were going. And I know they will perhaps get someone else, but you can never replace the individual that you have come to admire and enjoy and appreciate. They are very unique, and I will miss them very, very much. I just wish them well, love them. I hope our lives meet. I hope we can see them again, and wish them well, but I'll never forget them. Thank you so much for everything you've given me, my husband, the community. We'll never forget you, and good luck.
Tano, in case you watch this video 20 years from now, I'm Roger Spellman. I've been your chavruta for, I think, most of the time you've been here, and I really appreciate that. I think when I think we first started out, I asked you a question that was something that bothered me in the 13 Midot of Hashem that we stopped with. It says Yinakeh v'lo Yinakeh, but we stop when we say the 13 Midot. We don't do the lo Yinakeh part, and that was bothersome to me. And so we learned that part in Rashi and the Malbim, and then we widened the view and we looked at the events leading up to that. So we learned that for a few months. Then we said, let's pick something else. And I think pretty much we moved on to Shir Shirim after that, which is that was a bit of a stretch for me, for certainly, and it was very tough material in the Malbim, and it was above my level. And you patiently stuck it out with me. We probably most weeks we would do maybe 1 or 2 pesukim, maybe 3 or 4 on a good week, and I think you were willing to work at my pace. So that I think that pretty much describes what we've been doing the past couple of years.
Okay.
I'll say when Yitzi and Moshe started the Kollel, however many years ago, they entered fresh waters in Sharon, and it was a bit of a challenge for them, and they did a great job getting involved with all the different shuls and setting up chavrutas and classes, and really just feels like they're just part of the community. And then when they added Netanel, I think, oh, there's no way he's going to fit in. It just doesn't make sense, because Yitzi and Moshe, they were just seen like part of the community by then, and within a very short period of time, Netanel is just blend right in. Very often I'll be leaving his house after chavruta, and a close friend of mine is entering his house. We had so it just so amazing to me how many of my close friends are learning advanced material with them, which they probably wouldn't be able to be learning, or it'd be harder for them to find a good study partner. So I think the Netanel just gives a great deal of enthusiasm and excitement to what he's doing. If we hit a rough patch where we were struggling to understand it or get the meaning out of it, he's always seemed to have the enthusiasm to just keep us moving forward and not get stuck in that. So I think that's something, if I start to learn a section on my own and I'm getting stuck, I might put it aside and maybe get back to it maybe if ever in the future. So I think having Natana with me would definitely enable me to keep making progress. I'm sure he's affected many other people that way as well. We sometimes, just discuss things. I think we come from very different backgrounds. I have a good secular education and he has a good yeshivish education. I think my wife and I were at his house, and he was just he and his wife were discussing the shidduch process and how different couples meet there, and that was pretty interesting stuff to hear. I think hashkafically, I think I'm pretty much on the same derech I was on before Natana came. I think we didn't really fight heads over which hashkafa. I think Natana is very respectful of the young Israel community and and I think very supportive of that. But I think hashkafically I'm pretty much where I've been. I mean, the learning we've done has affected my mind in ways. Especially in Shir Hashirim, we're discussing very spiritual matters, how God interacts with souls and how souls interact with humans and the different parts of the body. And I think that that has been influenced me, and I think about that quite a bit. It would be a difficult set of shoes to fill. I mean, I'm already missing him, and we're still learning together. Even though it's a couple weeks before he leaves right now. Natana, and you've been setting aside extra time. I think we learned twice this week. Just of course we want to finish the post log for Shir Hashirim. I will say when we finished the sefer itself about 2-3 weeks ago, and I felt sad. I mean, I really, we got to the last few pasukim, and I just, I felt sad that we were reaching that milestone, and I appreciate that we want to go through the epilogue, I guess it's called, and it's it's a not easy epilogue to go through either, and you want to set this. I know you're pretty busy getting rid of whatever, cleaning out your house and getting ready for your move, and I really appreciate that you took the time, taking the time still to get together with me. She served we had a fleshig meal, and she served this amazing ice cream cake afterwards, which I asked her multiple times if it was dairy, because it tasted delicious. I love a good Parv ice cream cake, and so I think that would hands down be my winner there. A fruit or a vegetable? Could it be a tree? Okay, so I think this is it's a model in Shir Hashirim comes up with a cedar tree in Lebanon. I would put him as compared to a tree. I think he has the broad branches, the strength to support whole buildings, and I guess that would be it, to tie him to the Beit HaMikdash as well, and to his supporting the community in such a strong way. I feel sad that you're leaving. I'm sure you're moving to bigger and better things. We have a very nice guest room in my house. We've housed families your size in my house before, so when you're ready to come back to Sharon for Shabbat or for a week or so, let me know in advance. We would love to host you, and we definitely want to stay in touch.
I think he would have to be pineapple, because it's a little bit prickly on the outside, but then on the inside he's very sweet.
And acidic?
I guess also, if you're taking it to the full extent, you'd have to say acidic and juicy and yellow. Okay. Well, also I should say, as far as relationship with Natano, I remember asking one of my rebbeim in Eretz Yisrael, what's the purpose of friendship? What's a friend in Torah thought? The Pirkei Avos says Kanei Lecha Chaver, but and we see different models of friendship throughout Tanakh, but what's the actual purpose of a friend? And he said a friend is Naamas. A friend is there to keep it real and keep you honest and to tell you it straight.
And of anybody in Sharon, I think that Nathaniel has really filled that role for me. He's really, I don't agree with everything he says, and I certainly don't agree with the way he says it very often. But I know that it's coming from a place of wanting people to be their best self and to live a life of MS as he sees it. I have to say I'm a very big fan of Riva's desserts in particular. But one stands out above the rest, and I don't know what to call it. But it involves chocolate and a layer of peanut butter as well. I'm assuming it's very complicated to make because I've only seen it twice. One time was at the Miller Roof, perhaps? No, I wasn't there. I think it was a kiddush in honor of the Miller engagement. And they're like these very small little circular, I guess like peanut chews is what I would call them. And they're really fantastic. Really great. I think what Nathaniel added to the cola that wasn't there before mainly was snark. Yitzi and Moshe have these very sweet demeanors, and they appeal to a certain demographic. And I think Nathaniel, he's also sweet in his way, but he's also very snarky. And I think that drew him a certain group of people in Sharon, which who couldn't really relate to Yitzi and Moshe. And Nathaniel sort of came in with this real vibrancy. People who wanted realness, I think, were very drawn to that. And so he made a very big impact in that way. Also, I have to say that one of the amazing things about Nathaniel is his adaptability. When he first came to Sharon, I was a little bit skeptical about how he was going to work out here. But he got on very quick to what Sharon was about, and he adjusted accordingly. I was really amazed by his adaptability. I think also with Nathaniel and Riva are incredibly dedicated to what they do. They really put in 100% into every event. Nathaniel, schleps chairs, tables, and he only gripes about it a little bit. I've enjoyed going on hikes with Nathaniel. I've enjoyed learning with Nathaniel in select capacities. I really loved road tripping with Nathaniel, even though I wasn't sure he was going to survive the way back. And I also, one of the things I most love to do with him is singing. He has a beautiful voice, and when there's music involved, he just turns on. He has this incredible raw, this incredible energy, and I definitely feel Leo when he's singing, and when I get to sing with him. He also wrote this incredibly beautiful niggun, which I wish I could remember. I can't, but I hope I get to hear it many more times in the future. I've also really enjoyed getting to know his kids and playing with them. As difficult as Nathaniel can be sometimes, I do really care about him and feel a deep connection to him. And I've actually been really impressed watching Natano grow over the past few years. As a orator and as a teacher, I think he's really come into his own as somebody who can stand in front of a group and really deliver a beautiful Torah message in a way that people can relate to and can understand. And he's not obnoxious when he does that. He still emulates sort of that little brother who you want to throttle but you love anyway. And I do love him, and I do care about him, and I value the relationship we've developed. And I'm going to miss you very much, Natano. And look forward to many more years of continued friendship and button pushing. There's a pasuk where Yaakov Avinu tells Yosef HaTzadik, Asita imadi chesed ve'emes. It's like al na tikbareni b'Mitzrayim, and that's really how Natano, I think, has related to a lot of the people in Sharon. I think that's how he sees his avoda in life. Is we're in Mitzrayim, and Natano's not going to allow us to sink, to be buried here, and so he deals with everyone from a place of chesed and emes, and we're all the beneficiaries of that. I think Natano and Reba have gone out of their way to make me feel comfortable in their home and to make me feel welcome. I've had the opportunity to see Natano in many different contexts and see how he relates and how he works with many different people, and really I'm blown away by how he's able to adjust to relate to pretty much anybody. On a personal level, I feel a very strong connection to Natano. I really do think of him as a close friend and as a brother. I come to a place of real, I think, genuine depth with him, and of sharing, and of friendship. I think many friendships are. I think sort of the more you fight for them, the stronger they are. And I think this one I've really had to work out somewhat. And I think seeing I think we both had to work at it, and I think we're seeing the fruits of that. I'm just sad that Natano is leaving at this point. I wanted to grow more and see more of the beauty develop from it. When Natano told me that he was planning to leave, I was genuinely gutted. I was happy for him and for his family, but also really, really sad for me. Wasn't really ready for that. Sometimes you don't realize what an impact or what an influence people have had until they leave your sphere. And I can definitely say that Natano has been very impactful on me, and I think he's really, of anybody here, he's kept me yashar and pushed me to grow and to want to be better and more, to come closer to Hashem, to be a better Yid, be stronger in my avodas Hashem, be stronger in my expression of Torah values. those are things I'm going to continue to strive towards, but it's definitely going to be harder without Nathaniel here.
I have had frequent interaction with Nathaniel as the Kollel's treasurer, and we also learn together every week. And I always look forward to our Torah learning sessions. It's just a pleasure learning with him. I've learned an awful lot learning Torah with Nathaniel. His Torah insights are always amazing. I always look forward to learning with Nathaniel. Our learning sessions are usually an hour long and they seem like 5 minutes. His insights are amazing, and I notice that he's able to learn with Jews at all levels of knowledge. Nathaniel and Reba both exude positive energy. They're both always smiling. Nathaniel has an amazing amount of energy. Reba does as well. She contributes so much to the community. Reba's food is all delicious, but I have to say I love her cupcakes. They are wonderful. I will miss their warmth tremendously. I also will miss learning Torah every week with Nathaniel. It's just been an amazing experience. I would compare Nathaniel to a strawberry, because strawberries are sweet and delicious, and everybody likes strawberries. Nathaniel, I've enjoyed our learning together very, very much, and I'm really going to miss you, and the entire Sharon community is really going to miss you.
Well, Reb Nathaniel, we have really enjoyed having you learn in our Beis Medrash. I myself personally really enjoyed speaking with you and learning quite a number of times. And I also really enjoyed watching your chavrusa with Rabbi Yehuda, watching the interaction, and as myself being part of the Beis Medrash, benefiting from not only the warmth of your presence, but the Torah itself and the Masu Matan and learning between you and Rabbi Yehuda really significantly enhanced our morning Sedarim, and we are really very appreciative of that. That was really something that we were really tremendously nenet from. Certainly, obviously appreciate that you have great koichos and great abilities to give something over to Klal Yisrael, and we are mispalel, and Mirz Hashem, this move should be a move of hatzlacha, and a move of opportunity, and a move that will enable you to use your wonderful gifts and your wonderful koichos to steig weiter for yourself, for your mishpacha, and Mirz Hashem to give something over very, very big to Klal Yisrael, and Nachas Ruach, and to your mishpacha, and I guess we'll miss you, but we certainly wish you tremendous hatzlach.
So, these are my words to Nathaniel Friedman. Nathaniel, what can I say? Cheskas Habatim, Migul Mafreya, Shkuni Gavoy, Shiki Beroi, Hosei Usha. It was so geschmack learning. And all of us can do it. You were like the most geschmack from the chat from Beis Medrash. They want to come over and schmooze and learning with us. You. What did I say? Another thing I wanted to mention was whenever you said hello to me, like good morning, I mamash felt like you were sincerely happy to see me. It was such a great feeling. I'm gonna miss that. Oh yeah, one more thing. I really did like your selection of ties.
So, about a year and a half ago, I met Nathaniel at Simchas Torah at Eitz Chaim. We danced and we sang together, but formally I didn't really know him at the time. We had just met. About a week or so later, one of my friends had mentioned to me that he wanted to possibly meet up and just talk a little bit. So my friend gave him my number, we met up, we talked a little bit, and he had mentioned, maybe that we could do some studying. So we organized a time. He said, at that time I was davening on my own, but I wasn't davening at a minyan, I wasn't davening at a shul. I hadn't been to a shul since I was a young child. And he mentioned maybe we should we should come and maybe daven Shacharis together, and then we could study a little bit after. And so we had started doing that. And that turned into me and him turned into a charusa for maybe, I think it was like a year and a half or so. We started studying once a week, sometimes twice a week. And we started out studying Pirkei Avot, and then started studying Megillah. Okay. I just keep on. Oh, it's gonna die. You need to get better. Yeah, Netanel has had a lot of influence on my life recently. He, other than him helping me with my learning, he invited me and my wife to many Shabbos meals, and his family and him were always so open and so generous and so giving every time we went. And sitting around his table with his children singing, and Netanel has an incredible voice. Anyone that knows him, knows that when he leads davening, my relationship to Netanel is a chavrusa, a friend, a chavrusa and a friend. Learning with Netanel is like, soaring through the clouds. I'm not that poetic. Learning with Netanel is very informative, intense. And learning with him is also very sweet. Learning early in the morning with him has a lot of times giving me a lot of strength in the morning. He's giving me a lot of energy in the morning. He can be a very an energetic learner and a very specific learner, and he has a lot of information right there willing to give. And so learning with him has really given me a lot of experience. He's also, because of all the learning that he's done, he has a really wide breadth of knowledge of just learning in general. So it's not just the specific text that we're learning, but it's also how to learn. He's taught me a lot about that. Netanel has influenced me in many ways. He's not only influenced my davening and my learning, but he's also influenced my family. If it wasn't for about a year ago, my grandfather passed away, and Netanel was instrumental in my grandfather having a tahara. And he was, I would have to say my favorite thing that Riva Friedman has made has been her Shabbos meals. It's so hard to choose. I mean, last time we went over, she made this really good, I think it was like a cherry pie. That was really good. But her cholin's really good. I like cholent. She made this spicy fish stew last time. That was really good too. Yeah. The brisket was really good. The schnitzel, that was good. She makes these ices that are really good too. I mean, I can't choose one. I'm not going to choose one. A meal is a whole meal. I would say the one unique thing about Netanel and about the Friedmans that they bring to the kollel is enthusiasm. I mean, it's hard for me to elaborate because it was hard for me to really choose something. I chose enthusiasm because of Netanel's attitude. He has a very enthusiastic personality. He's not only is he very friendly, but many people are friendly, but they're not enthusiastically friendly, I guess, if that makes any sense. He has a certain energy about him that when he sees you, he smiles, but he always gives you like a kind of like a big hug or like a slap on the arm. If you could say one thing that the Friedmans have brought to the kollel, into the Sharon community, what would you say it is? I don't think he brought falafel night exclusively. Just say something. Say something. The Friedmans. So you say the Friedmans have brought peace to the community because before there was war, people were divided. She says that through Falafel Night, Shalom Aklali was achieved through. She said before there was Reform and Conservative and Orthodox, but through Falafel Night and the Friedmans, now there's only Falafel. Thank you, Baruch Hashem. Thanks, sweetie. One moment that I would say encapsulates who I think Nathaniel is, encapsulates his personality, is sitting around his Shabbos table with his family when he's singing a Shabbos song. And I'll say for me that's encapsulates who Nathaniel is. A family man, a man of Torah, a man of song, and Eved Hashem. Yeah, he leans Vishnu, but he's really told us Sharon. Like maybe he's an uncle that's told us Sharon, and he's told me many stories about him. He quotes Noam Melech quite often, but he has this tendency to wear strimals alone in the dark. He doesn't. I'm lying. I shouldn't do this. Nathaniel is a holy man. He's brought an incredible amount of kedusha to Sharon, and without him, honestly, I don't know where I would be. He's helped me out so much with my life, with my own personal development, with my learning, with my davening, with my family life, and he seems to have an ability to connect with people of many backgrounds, regardless of who they are, regardless of their differences. I'm going to miss most about Nathaniel, I think, our friendship and the smile that he gives me every time I see him, and his knowledge. It's always nice when you go into a shul and there's somebody that comes right up to you and gives you like a big hug and a slap on the shoulder and says like they're really, really excited to see you. And he has that kind of enthusiasm and that kind of energy and liveliness that is rare. It's rare to find in a person. He has it. Oh, okay. Well, he does have an edge. Nathaniel has an edge. I would say that the thing that the Friedmans bring to Sharon is an edge. Is an edge and a lively edge, like a sword, but a friendly sword. Whatever that means. I would compare Nathaniel to a bowl of cholent. Exactly. You really should say a piece of brisket, but because Nathaniel would not approve of anything else. He once told me that he eats meats all day so he can stay fleishik, so he doesn't have to eat anything. He doesn't have to eat dairy. A fruit or a vegetable, I would equate Nathaniel with a potato because it's cooked with cholent. Maybe no. I mean, fruit or vegetable. I mean, I guess brisket. Yeah. He's not a fruit or vegetable. He's just not. He's too fleishik to be a fruit or vegetable. Sorry. I would say the one major thing that's going to stick to me that Nathaniel taught me is a commitment to learning, a commitment to my family, and a commitment to Torah. Yeah, commitment in general, I think that's the one strong thing that I get from him, is that he, I would like to bless them with, I'd like to bless them with peace and bless them with much success and simcha and only good things in their future. May Hashem just continue to bless them and their whole family and everyone that's attached with them, and to bless Nathaniel with lots of people to learn from him, because I think his light should spread around the world. And as much as we love having you in Sharon and that you've done so much for so many people in Sharon, the next community that's going to get you is going to be very lucky, and hopefully there's lots and lots of people that can learn from you. I've also learned from the tunnel the importance of dancing on Simchas Torah. I always remember seeing the tunnel. Even this was just on Shavuos, we were dancing in Mincha time. And it was the tunnel, leading the charge with the dancing. He was the one really adding the koach. I could say one thing that the Friedmans, specific things that the Friedmans bring to this community is a real koach to singing and to dancing.